France was actually a Hebrew kingdom whose official religion was Judaism. And Joseph, the brother of Emmanuel, actually went to the British Isles, taking many relics of his existence with him, which is occupied or owned to this day by the British royal family, supposedly kept in Balmoral Castle. Now, what happened? Juxtaposition. The symbol of Emmanuel and Mary was the lion, a gold lion, like the Lion of Judah. That's where it comes from. In the year 800, the Khazars all converted en masse to Judaism. And the reason they did this was so that they would not be under the control of the then expanding Holy Roman Empire, which then was a Christian empire. And so the Khazars spread into Europe and actually created the downfall of the Roman Empire. And they mixed with the local tribes and civilizations who then occupied Europe, mixing the bloodline of the Khazars, whose symbol was the dragon, with the people whose symbol was the lion. And the first ones to do this was King Merovi. And their lineage became known as the Merovingians, the mixture between the Magdalene lineage and the reptilian lineage. And to this very day, the new symbol is what? That you see on all of the European posts and official buildings and city gates is a reptilianized lion. You ever see the lion? It looks like it's really like a dragon, but it's still a lion. You've seen them. Every Italian restaurant has one. And so that was the merger of the Magdalene lineage with the reptilian lineage. And henceforth, the blue bloods became the nobility of Europe, which they are to this very day. Again, making a very long story short, these people then broke into 13 families or ruling families that controlled all of the known world at the time, including the Vatican. And in fact, in the year 1213, the British royal family, now keep this in your mind as I go through this history, and I know I'm condensing a lot, but we don't have a lot of time. But in 1213, the British royal family signed a document handing over ownership of all of the assets of the British Empire to the Vatican, under the condition that forevermore the British royal family would be the administrators of that asset, but the Vatican would own it. Did you ever wonder why last year, when President Bush and all the other world leaders went to Genoa to the G8 meeting, that right after the meeting, he didn't come to the U.S. and tell you what he did, but he went first to the Vatican and spoke to the Pope. I guess he had to tell him what will happen with his assets. Anyway, you should also know that because of that, the British administer the United States. Because the United States is not a country, it's a corporation, formed in 1607 in London by the name of the Virginia Corporation. And therefore, everything in the United States is actually an asset administered by the British royal family and owned by the Vatican. And if you look on the law books, you will see from over 200 years ago, it says that the U.S. Postal Service is actually owned by the Bank of London, which is owned by the British royal family or administered by them, and that from henceforth, and this is from the 1700s, all U.S. postage stamps shall cost 2.5 cents, and any other amount shall go to profit to the Bank of London. And if you post that rule of law on an envelope to this very day, you can mail any envelope for 2.5 cents. I have received such envelopes, and they have been delivered to me. They have to, because it's the law. But you don't know the law. So they get away with everything. That's why in another month it's going to be 37 cents. See? So that means 34.5 cents are going to the Bank of London, not to the U.S. Post. Why think they're bankrupt? They don't have any money. They don't get that, see? It's a private corporation. Just like the IRS is a private corporation, just like the Federal Reserve Bank is a private Delaware corporation. Federal Reserve Bank was started in 1913 by your president's grandfather. He also started the IRS in 1933 with two of his friends in New York City, Prescott Bush. And the idea for starting the Internal Revenue Service is to raise money for the Nazi Party in Germany, which they did, and to which they transferred funds all through the 1930s. 1913, they started the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a privately held corporation, still owned by certain few individuals, except because it has the word federal in it, you think that it's the government, and it has nothing to do with the government. You should also know, in the IRS, when you sign your tax form for the very first time when you get a job and you're going to sign that, it's called special law. It is not federal law. Special law because it's outside of the normal law. It's a contract that you sign, and if you read it, it says, once you sign this, forevermore you will do this. If you don't, you break a contract that's punishable legally. That's what it says. Under no circumstances is income tax, federal income tax, legal. You're paying it to private individuals who then fund various governments with the money to do their bidding. That's what this group is about. They call themselves the Illuminati. In Latin, it means the illuminated ones or the wise ones. If you look it up in the internet, you'll find that the word Illuminati will give you an organization formed May 1st, 1776 in Bavaria by a man with the name of Adam Weishaupt. And if you look at his picture, he looks awfully a lot like George Washington.
Something I just read about him, he was a Jesuit.
Yeah. Jesuits are the military, aggressive branch of the Catholic Church. In fact, in Switzerland, they're banned. It's against the law to have Jesuits there. And in many countries, because they forcefully try to convert people against their will, and still do. Of course, the Catholic Church is about to be dismantled, and that was also, in fact, something I had written about in 1992 for this time period. In fact, within 6 months, you will see people burning churches to the ground and dismantling things. In fact, they're already shooting priests.
You just had this 2 months ago here.
Is that right?
A young kid, yeah, I know very well. Nice kid.
Most likely mind-controlled and programmed to do that. And that was done with the Montauk Project, which I'll get to hopefully soon. I wanted to give you a background of what religion is really all about. You also need to know that even the ancient Hebrew religion was an artificial religion. It was based on the Egyptian ceremonial reptilian cult. For example, in ancient Egypt, the word for crocodile fat was messa, M-E-S-S-E-A in English, E-H in English. Messa, what the ancient Egyptian priests used to do in their private ceremonies when they anointed someone or elevated them to priest status, was anoint their body with crocodile fat, and it was called the messa. In Hebrew, it became Moshiach, or in English, Messiah. It really means he who is anointed with crocodile fat. That's what it means. That's what it means. Just like I get a big kick out of people who tell me that they're channeling Melchizedek, or that they're on the Melchizedek frequency, or they're on the Melchizedek something or another. That comes from ancient Hebrew words Melech Tzedek, which means charitable king. It was a title like you'd have defense minister. It was passed, the title was passed down from father to son, and if you were a Melchizedek, it meant you were an associate who helped the king get done what he needed to get done. See? So that's like, if someone tells me they're of the Melchizedek priesthood, that will